Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Fancy Tech. The 60s, as they are known in pop culture, is a term used to describe the counterculture, the revolution in social norms regarding clothing, music, drugs, dress, sexuality, formalities, and schooling. Others refer to this period as an era of irresponsible excess, flamboyance, a decay of social order, or in other words, rock and roll. The decade was also labeled the swinging 60s by some because of the fall and relaxation of social taboos that occurred during the time, especially in regards to civil rights and expectations for men to go off to meaningless wars. It was also the era of a space race between the United States and Soviet Union. The Soviets were able to send the first man into outer space in 1961, leading the United States to counter this move by landing a man on the moon. The 60s were truly a revolutionary era, and it saw the emergence of some interesting technologies that we're going to discuss. So buckle up. Space War was the first computer game invented in 1962 by Steve Russell, a young computer programmer from MIT. He took his inspiration from the writings of E. Doc Smith and led a team of programmers who took 200 man-hours to code the first version of the game. The game was written on a PDP-1, which was an early Digital Equipment Corporation or DEC interactive mini computer. This mini computer used a cathode ray tube type display and a keyboard input that was a donation to the MIT from DEC. The gameplay involved a fight to the death between two monochrome spaceships called the Needle and the Wedge, which were controlled and maneuvered by two players in a two-dimensional gravity well of a star. The ships fired a limited number of torpedoes that were not affected by gravity pull of the star. Space War went on to win several awards and has been added to the list of the top 10 most important video games of all time. Second on our list is the audio cassettes. Audio cassettes played a critical role in the evolution of the music industry. If you've seen one working and have rewound one with a pencil, then you are what they call an oldie. But don't worry, we are here too. The first audio cassette was invented by Philips in 1962. It's the same brand we know of because of their light bulbs and other electronic products. The audio cassettes produced by Philips use high quality polyester tape produced by BASF. The recording and playback speed of these cassettes was 1.7 by 8 inches per second. The mass production of the blank audio cassettes began in 1964, and the pre-recorded music cassettes were launched in 1965 in Europe and in 1966 in the United States. By the end of the 60s, the audio cassette business was worth an estimated $150 million. Compact discs. A lot of our audience might be familiar with this technology because it is not entirely extinct yet. This digital storage media used for computer files, pictures, and music was invented in 1966 by James Russell, who was awarded a total of 22 patents for the various elements of the compact disc system. However, the compact disc did not become popular until it was mass manufactured by Philips in the 1980s. At the time of this technology introduction in 1982, a CD could store a lot more data than the hard drive of a personal computer. If you're wondering how much data a personal computer could hold back then, it was about 10 megabytes, which is really small, given the fact that a single photo taken from a DSLR camera these days can be upwards of at least 15 megabytes. According to an estimate, more than 200 billion CDs have been sold worldwide by 2007. The fourth emergent technology in 1960 was the first handheld calculator. It was a 1967 prototype called the Caltech, which was developed by a team led by Jack Kilby at Texas Instruments during a research project to produce a portable calculator. These electronic calculators before this invention were large and heavy desktop machines that used to operate with the help of hundreds of transistors on several circuit boards. These devices also consumed a lot of energy and required an AC power supply. The Caltech calculator could add, multiply, subtract, and divide, and its output was shown on a paper tape. It had a black colored metal case, an array of 17 keys, and a 0 bar. The 17 keys included the 9-digit keys, a decimal point, 4 arithmetic functions, clear button, error button, and print. There was an on-off switch at the back of the device and a thermal printer with a thin strip of paper. Even being a handheld calculator, the Caltech had to be plugged into the wall to power up. Think of it like using a smartphone. While it's charging, but it would turn off if you'd unplug it. The first computer mouse was developed by Douglas Engelbart in 1964 while working for Stanford Research Institute. Engelbart had first recorded his idea for a mouse in his notebook in 1963 and had initially called it a bug. He thought that the bug would be easier and more natural to use as compared to the stylus because of its ability for staying still, hence allowing a better coordination with the keyboard. He later changed the name of his invention and started calling it the mouse, as early models had a cord attached to the rear end of the device, which looked like a tail and resembled a mouse. Engelbart publicly demonstrated the mouse in 1968 at the Fall Joint Computer Conference, which was later dubbed as the mother of all demos, because of a number of groundbreaking computer technologies were demonstrated at this event along with the computer mouse. RAM was another thing that was invented in 1960s. RAM stands for Random Access Memory and is a hardware device that allows information to be stored and retrieved from a computing device. That can be anything: a smartphone, tablet, laptop, or computer. A RAM is basically your computer's short-term data storage unit. It stores the information your computer is actively using so it can be accessed quickly. The smartphones and computers with the higher RAMs are preferred by users because of their fast computing speeds. To cut it short, higher the RAM, higher the operating speed of the computer. The RAM as we know it was first invented in 1968 by Robert Denard and is commercially went into production in 1970. The last emerging technology on our list was the ATM, or automatic teller machine, which allows bank account holders to conduct a financial transaction at any time, any place, and any other ATM machine in the world. John Shepard Barron came up with the idea for the first automatic teller machine while taking a soak. He pitched the idea to the British bank Barclays, and the first ATM model was built and installed in London in 1967. There are more than 3.5 million ATMs around the world, which roughly translates to one ATM machine per 3,000 people. Subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss more on emerging technology and much more. Take care.